Welcome to Everything Education with Dr. Roz, the podcast where we explore practical and creative strategies to enhance classroom experiences. I'm your host, Dr. Roz. Today's podcast is on the topic of creating a thinking classroom, which is a three-part series. Part two of this series will be presented and shared with you today. As a refresher, a thinking classroom is a learning environment designed to promote deep thinking, critical problem solving, and active engagement among students. It shifts the focus from traditional rote learning to a more dynamic, student centered approach. So here we go. Let's get started. Today's part two is titled Forming Collaborative Groups. Forming collaborative groups in a thinking classroom is essential for fostering an environment of active learning and critical thinking. I want to share with you some steps to effectively create and manage collaborative groups. Option 1. Define clear objectives. The reason we want to clearly define the goals and objectives of the group activity is to ensure that students understand what they are expected to achieve. Explicit instructions, always a great idea. So, share the learning objective and how the group activity aligns with these goals. Again, explicit instruction is the key. The next thing to do is consider the group size. The optimal size for a typical group is usually 3 to 5 students. They typically work best as they are small enough for everyone to participate, but large enough for everyone to have diverse opportunities for sharing their perspectives and engaging in the activity. So you can adapt the group. You can adjust the group size based on the complexity of the task and the dynamics of the classroom. I typically stick to about 3 students in a group. That way, I'm ensuring everyone is participating, everyone is engaged, and everyone in the group has something to do. The next thing to consider is the mixed, diverse skills and abilities of your students. You want to strike a balance in the classroom. So you want to form groups that have a mix of skills, abilities, and strengths. This encourages peer learning and ensures that every member of the group can contribute uniquely and is balanced. Diversity is key. Include students with different perspectives and backgrounds and learning styles to enrich the group's discussion and problem solving process. Don't leave anyone out. Everyone has something to share, everyone can learn, and everyone is valuable to the learning process. Next, random assignments versus strategic grouping. Random assignment of students in groups. You can use random methods like drawing names or using online tools to create groups. This can promote inclusivity and ensure that students work with different peers. That's important. Again, going back to that diversity. You can also think about it from a strategic point. Strategic grouping, alternatively, can strategically assign students to groups based on their strengths, their interests, and the task requirements. This can help in achieving specific learning outcomes, and it may even diffuse or diminish some frustration that students may feel. Another perspective would be to establish roles and responsibilities. Role assignment can be very, very critical to the success of your grouping. So assign specific roles within each group, such as a facilitator, a note taker, a timekeeper, a presenter. This will ensure that everyone in the group, all group members, are actively engaged and accountable for their contribution and the work that is being presented. Rotate those roles regularly to give students an opportunity to experience those different aspects of group work. It will be a phenomenal opportunity for students to grow their skills. Next, think about providing clear instructions. Again, I'm back to that explicit directions, explicit instructions. Task clarity is key. Clarity explains the task, the expected outcomes, and any guidelines or rules for collaboration. That clarity can be provided in written form or verbal form. I recommend both. That way, you ensure that everyone is on the same page. Provide instructions both in writing and verbally to cater to the different learning preferences. Next, create a collaborative environment. Students want to feel safe in their learning environment. Collaboration promotes that. So, the physical setup and design and layout of your classroom is very important. So, arrange your classroom, have a layout that facilitates group interaction, maybe a U shape or a circle. Maybe have three desks put together so you create a pod. Use flexible seating arrangements that allow groups to work together comfortably. Resources are important as well. So provide the materials that they need and the resources that they need to work together as a group so that their task can be completed with minimal frustration. Remember, the key is for learning to take place and not for disruption and non-compliance to take place. Next, you want to monitor and support. Active monitoring is key. You need to circulate around the classroom, observe the group interactions, listen to what they're saying, offer support, provide real time feedback as needed, provide correction. Students want to know that what they're saying and doing is on task, correct, and down the road that you want them to go. Provide interventions, set up and opportunities for students to have chances at resolving conflict. Guide the groups back on track if they're struggling. When students become frustrated, conflicts may occur. So you want to keep that in the forefront of your mind and you want to minimize that as much as possible. So be ready with interventions and strategies to keep the students on track, engaged, and learning. Encourage reflective practice. Group reflection is important. At the end of the activity, encourage groups to reflect on their collaboration process. What worked? What didn't work? What could be improved? All of those things are important. Individual reflection is as important as well. It's important that they understand that their contributions matter and that they are having learning experiences that can be connected to other types of learning. Even outside of the classroom, transferable skills, those are always important. And finally, feedback and assessment. Constructive feedback. Provide constructive feedback on the group's performance, emphasizing both the process and the final product. Peer assessments are important as well. Incorporate some peer assessments to allow students to evaluate each other and their contributions and their teamwork skills. You'll be amazed at how well students will receive feedback from their peers. Implementing these 10 steps can help create an effective collaborative group in a thinking classroom. It fosters a dynamic and engaging learning environment. So, part two is in the bag. There you have it. Innovative and practical classroom thinking strategies that can transform your teaching experience. Remember, the key to an effective lesson plan in a thinking classroom is for the learning environment to include collaboration, communication, consistency, and creativity for everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Everything Education with Dr. Roz. Subscribe now and embark on a journey of transformation and growth with us. Until next time, let's continue to transform education for everyone, everywhere.